Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, so in this video, we are going to get started on mixing our secondary colors on our painted color wheel, okay? So this either is your paper. If you can't find it, you should have left it either on the countertop for your class period or on the drying rack for whatever grade level you're in. So as soon as you do, grab your paper. Looks like this. Your name should already be up here with the class period. A cup of water and a painting tray with the three primary colors and your white and your black. Remember, you only need a nickel-sized amount. Do not get more than a nickel-sized amount. I have a little bit more than what you should be getting. You have those little circles. You want to fill that little circle up on your tray only halfway. Or even that. And then grab a brush. So water cup, brush, paint palette with paint, and some magazine scraps to mix your colors on. Alrighty, so let's get started. We're going to go ahead and start with the color orange. So that is right here in between our red and our yellow. So let's talk about making orange first. When you're ready, dampen your brush a little bit and then wipe off the excess water. And you're going to always get a little bit more of the lighter color. Okay, so when mixing orange, you're going to get about, that much yellow. Depending on how much yellow you get, depends on how much red you should get. So you can see the size difference in the amount of paint that I got for each color. Now I'm going to slowly, remember our rule, you always add the dark into the light. So the red is our darker, we're going to mix that into our yellow. So I'm going to get a little bit of our red to start with and mix it in with the yellow to make our orange. And looks good, but I think we could still add some more. So I'm going to get some more red. And again, slowly, gradually mixing that in till you get you feel like you have the right shade. And I didn't need all the red I used or got because that is pretty perfect. A very even amount of orange. Think, I don't know, what's a sports team that has a really bright orange? Oklahoma? I think Oklahoma's is that like nauseating orange. That's the kind of orange you want. Okay, so you're going to grab or mix that. Once you've got a good orange, then 3 rings in is where that pure hue goes, right? We did that for our reds and our yellow and our blue. So right here, 3 rings in is where I'm going to paint my orange. And remember, if you have all that paint near the metal, kind of wipe it off on the paper and then put it back on the end of your brush. It's going to make your life a lot easier. I'm going to go in and paint right along here using my same method of that flathead brush. And we're not using paper that is the best for acrylic paint. This is just copy paper. So it's not going to absorb that paint as well as we would like. So if you have to put another layer on there, you can. But you always want to wait for each layer to dry before you add another one. Okay. And same goes for, let's say you messed up on something. Most likely you'll be able to paint over it. So just let it dry and then you can go back and paint over it. That is the beauty about acrylic paint. It makes it easy to paint over stuff. Okay, now what we're going to do is from this orange that we've made, I'm going to kind of separate it just a little into its own pile over here. And I'm going to mix in our shade of orange. And when we do, we're grabbing only a teeny tiny amount of black. See how small my amount of black is? It's like stupid small. So grab that amount of black and mix it in to our lighter shade. Now this is going to look kind of like a burnt orange, not all the way close to our UT burnt orange, but it still will be a little crispy. And I'm running out of actual orange, so what I'm going to do is actually make some more orange to add to that orange. Eek. Okay, now I'm going to get a little bit more orange, black to mix into this orange because that orange was getting too thin. Ooh, I used too much black. And you can kind of see it on there. It'll turn like a greeny color if you start to use too much of that black. So just make sure that you adjust it. What I'm doing to fix it is mixing another set of orange or another thing of orange and then taking a little bit of this and mixing it into my new set of orange. And that'll usually remedy the problem. Okay, so now I'm going to paint my burnt orange there, getting it off of the metal part of my brush and to the end of my brush. There we go. Okay. Sorry if my voice is hoarse, by the way. I feel like I sound like a gremlin right now. Okay. And get a little bit more for that inner spot. And see how I'm holding my brush very upright? That's how you're going to paint that point without going outside the lines. Alrighty, so I've got my darker shade of orange. Now I'm going to rinse off my brush, wipe it on my paper towel, and I'm going to make another thing of orange. So again, get some of red and get some yellow and mix that together to make your orange. Remember, you want a little bit more yellow than you do the red when making orange because the red is very intense. Okay, getting close. So still a little bit of a red orange. Trying to get that back to, pure orange. Okay, there we go. That's more of a orange. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of my orange, set it aside in a different spot on my newspaper, and wipe it off, wipe my brush off, and then get some white. And mix that in with your orange. And I probably got too much white this time. I'm going to come back to my orange. I might need to make some more. I'm not making enough paint here. Okay, it's getting closer. A little bit of red and yellow. There we go. So maybe that first round, that first lighter tint of your orange. Don't get too much white. Just get like an equal amount of white to the amount of orange that you made, okay? So it should be a lot like that. Now I'm gonna paint this in. I wish that I could have, let's see. Paint it as evenly as you can inside those lines. And there you go. There's your lighter shade of orange. Now, what I'm gonna do is take a little bit of that orange and put it into another thing of white to make that even lighter shade of pastel orange. Okay. There we go. And then paint that into the outer ring. Okay. And now we finished orange. So what we're going to move on to next is our green. Who knows how to make green? Oops, just kidding. I don't know why I asked that question. Alex, do you know how to make green?
Blue and yellow.
Oh, he got it right. Go him. Okay. So you're going to go in between our blue and our yellow. And we're going to start with our green. Now, I filled up enough space on that other thing, so I'm going to move on to here, another sheet of scrap paper, or scrap magazine paper. And we're going to first mix that pure hue. So what you're going to do is get about that much yellow. You can kind of see compared to my brush or my size of my finger, how much yellow. And then you want to get half that size of blue. Remember, always adding the dark into the light. So I always like to set my dark color off to the side, just in case I accidentally got too much. I can always slowly mix that in. So I'm going to take my yellow, start mixing that blue in. Not using everything that I got. Slowly mixing it until I get what I feel like is a good green. And I think we got it. So, there we go. Should be like the color of some semi-old guacamole. Okay, so 3 rings in is where you're going to paint that pure green hue. And again, if you feel like you need another layer of these colors, just wait for that first layer to dry a minute. And you can go back over it with that second layer. So it's more opaque and and it's not like washed out looking. All right, now from there, we're gonna paint a darker hue, or a darker shade, or can't talk today, darker value of our green. So I'm gonna take my green, set it off to the side, making sure that I've got enough to paint with, kind of like that. And then you're gonna mix your black, and same thing, you only want a teeny tiny amount of black. I'll always show you, it's just the corner. And you're gonna mix that into your green. This is gonna make that like super deep hunter / army green that you'll often see, like Jeeps are made out of this color, or if you go hunting a lot, this color is a part of the camo that you wear. Okay. Now, once you've made that, I love this color. Paint that into the inner ring, that pie-shaped part. And again, when you get close to the tip, just use the top of the brush to help paint that inside portion. Eek. There we go. All righty. Okay, now I ran out of my green, so I'm gonna have to make some more green. If you still have enough left over, then you're fine, but I ran out of my green here. So I'm gonna get another pile of yellow and take my leftover blue, see if I can't get a good green from that. It's still a little yellowy, so I'm gonna get a little bit more blue until it looks like a greeny green. Okay. Now, I'm gonna take some of this green, about half of it, set it off to the side. So scoop it up with your brush and wipe it off to the side, kind of twisting your brush like this. And you're gonna get some white. And I overdid it last time, so I'm gonna start with about that much white and see where that gets me. Ooh, that's really light yellow, or light green. So what I might do is get some of this, set that off to the side, and mix it in with the rest of my green over here and see if that can't get me back to my darker shade, semi-darker shade, or semi-darker tint. Golly, I can't talk today at all. Sorry, guys. There we go. So that's a lighter value or tint of my green. And I'm going to paint that into the second rung. Remember, this is the slightly lighter, but not super light. It's like the stage right before you get to pastel colors. Okay, so then I painted in my lighter green. Rinse my brush off a little. Then you're gonna get, I'm gonna get some of that lightest pastel green and paint that into the outer ring. Just like this. And we're good. Alrighty. We only have one more set, or one more of our secondary colors, which is violet. So I've used most of that, so I'm going to move on. And our violet is in between our red and our blue. So now this one, these are relatively similar in like how pigmented they are. So you want about an equal amount, like half and half. So I'm going to get about half blue and the same amount of red. Okay, and then I'm going to mix those two together. And it's going to look strange. You're going to be like, this isn't purple. This is like muddy nastiness. But it actually is. It doesn't look like the purple that we usually see that's straight out of the tube, but it is still a violet. So we're going to take that mixture. It's going to look kind of gray, like a dark gray color. Just FYI. Like I know on mine, you can't even tell that it is any color. It looks like black right now, but it's not, I promise. Okay, and then you're gonna mix that right in to that where it's pure hue. We're very used to that manufactured purple color, but it takes a different kind of blue. And right now we're working with like our basic blues to get that manufactured purple color. You're not going to really get that with mixing these types of colors together for some reason. Okay, so now I'm going to make another thing of violet, mixing my blue and my red together. And then once I do that, I'm going to add black. And now it's really going to be dark. Again, always get the same amount of black. You don't need a whole lot. Just the corner. And mix that in. And that's going to give a deeper, darker shade of that purple. This is almost going to look like black on your paper. And I'll upload a photo of my color wheel so that you can kind of judge your colors based off of the ones that I've made and make sure that they're the right hue. Because I know it's kind of hard to see on the video what my colors actually look like. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to make one more set of violet, or one more thing of violet. Mixing my red with my blue. And I'm going to get some white. And I'm going to put that off to the side and mix my violet into the white, okay? There we go. And play around with it a little. It's going to look gray, like a gray or muted purple. Like I need to add a little bit more purple back into that. So I'm getting a little bit of red and a little bit of blue. There we go. That's more accurate. Okay, so it's going to be a very gray or muted violet. Please do not, again, expect the purple that you're used to that comes straight out of that tube. You are not going to be getting that type of purple. So I've got my lighter shade of violet. It almost looks like you added gray to it, but you didn't. And then I'm going to take that and mix some of that with even more white. And that's going to give me that pastel, gray, violet, lavender looking color. And that's going to go on our outer ring. Okay, now that is it for our secondary colors. Like I said, please make sure you're checking the colors that you're making against the colors that I've made. I will upload a photo of this so that you can kind of look back and forth and judge your colors. Another thing too is when you're looking at that photo and this video online on your iPads, please make sure that you're using like what am I trying to say? Annie, go. Sorry, honey. please make sure that you have the brightness all the way up on your iPad, because if you don't have the brightness all the way up, then it's still going to be very hard to see if you have the right, you've mixed the right color or not. Okay. All right. And then make sure that you clean up properly and you've put all your supplies away. The brush is rinsed really, really well using soap, and you've put it back upright into that cup on the countertop, and that your palette of paint on your tray, the plastic tray, is completely free of paint. If you'd rather not even use this and you want to use just the magazine papers, you can, but I just want to make sure that these are completely rinsed and I don't come back to grossness. And then that you dump and rinse your water cup. All right, guys, that is it for our primary colors and our secondary colors. So now that we've made all of those, we will, in the next video, work on the tertiary. All right, guys, see you in the next video.